confirmation of something we knew was going to happen. Michael Carrick has stepped down as temporary head coach of Manchester United upon the conclusion of his caretaker spell as manager. What do you make of Michael Carrick? Because does he gain any credit for this? There are a lot of people talking about why is he still there? Why is Phelan still there? Why is McKenna still there? Personally, I don't know enough about what they did day to day in the first place under Ole. I can understand the argument of you were part of a failed system, you have to go. But I think we've seen a slightly different Manchester United even in the week he's been manager. Have you seen any differences? I think the pressing's been more decisive, more conclusive. It's been more as a whole. I think that playing with a bit more confidence. Do you think he's given himself any sort of credit, any money in the bank for this week?
Yeah. My opinion on that is if Solskjaer's was the manager of the football club, he has a backroom staff. Any other clubs, if a manager leaves the club, the backroom staff tend to go with him.
Yeah.
So I understand the circumstances at Man United are very much differently because he needed someone to step into that role on a caretaker basis. And I think overall he's done well. He's gave a good account of himself. But for me, I thought maybe now he might go and he might leave the club and he won't be part of Rangnick's management team or whatever. And I think it sounds awful. That's a correct decision in my eyes because Rangnick will bring his staff in who he wants to bring in, and at the end of the day, Carrick was part of all his.
Yeah. So. I'm not sure first team coach and leave Manchester United. Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? Are you surprised by that?
If I'm being honest, I don't even really read into it as well. Like I said, I think these 3 games, I think you can't even read into them too much because when a new manager comes in, one of the main things that you hear pundits say, ex-players and everything, they'll sit down and say, oh, it's going to take a while for him to implement his style and his system. For anybody to sit there and wholeheartedly believe that Carrick's imprinted a system in within 3 games, within 1 game, is bewildering.
But you're surprised he's left the club entirely because that's what we're seeing there, and it's interesting that the rumour was before this game he would carry on under Rangnick. Rangnick might bring one guy in. But Carrick has stepped down from the club entirely. Sorry, I didn't quite understand what I was reading there for a second.
Yeah, sorry.
I think in a way, he's right to do so in terms of because he was part of all his backroom staff. So again, at other clubs, if a management leaves, like we see Mourinho, he leaves, backroom staff leads. Rangnick will have his own management team that he's had through every club that he's been at and he trusts and he's worked with for years. So there might not be a role. And it sounds ruthless, that this is just football. And I think, I made a point when the game was over, Bruno, give him a quick hug and whispered something in his ear. Did the lads know that it was his last?
Well, it's an interesting point that because 10 minutes ago on Manchester United's official website, there was a post saying Carrick to step down as first team coach. Michael Carrick has decided to step down as first team coach and leave the club following the conclusion of his spell as caretaker manager. John Murtaugh, football director, said Michael leaves with the sincerest thanks and best wishes of everyone at Manchester United after 15 years of exceptional service to the club as a player and a coach. While we are sad to see him go, we respect and understand Michael's decision. He will always be known as one of the finest midfielders in the history of Manchester United and, more recently, as an excellent coach who has worked tirelessly under 2 managers to develop the squad, which Ralph will now take charge of. We are grateful for the steady leadership Michael has shown through this period of managerial transition, and while he is now stepping away from day-to-day involvement, he will always be welcome back as a legend of the club. Michael Carrick said, my time at this great club will always rank as the best years of my career. You think so? When I first signed over 15 years ago, I never in my wildest dreams imagined I never in my wildest dreams could have imagined winning so many trophies, and will certainly never forget the fantastic memories both as a player and as a member of the coaching team. However, after a lot of thought and deliberation, I've decided that now is the right time for me to leave the club. I want to place on record my thanks to all of the players, and a special mention goes to the backroom staff. Working long hours with such a great group of people has been a real pleasure, and I've made some long-lasting friendships. I am and will always be a Manchester United fan and will come to as many matches as possible. I would like to wish Ralph, the staff, the players and the fans all the best for the future, and I look forward to being in the stands and supporting the boys as a fan.
Great statement.
Great statement. Obviously one that was prepared before the game. I wonder if the players knew that. You mentioned Bruno's sort of whispering to Michael Carrick. That suggests to me that was pre-planned. I'm surprised by that. I'll be honest. I'm shocked by that because it doesn't appear as though McKenna and Phelan or the rest of the team have followed. So that suggests to me, often you hear these sort of mutual. I genuinely think he's quit there. I don't think Rangnick's forced him out. Unless
it's a proactive move,
unless we find out,
that
Phelan and the rest of the team have gone as well. But if that's the case and it's just him going, I think he's decided that's time's enough.
Yeah,
time's up. Sorry.
I think that goes. What I was going to go on to my next point is it's an interesting to see what they do with Phelan and McKenna now, whether they stay on because. And fair play to Carrick because at the end of the day he's been very. Although it's not been an instant, he's been very loyal to Solskjaer in a way as well because. I know he stepped on and he's done a great job. 2 wins, 1 draw, and we thank him for that. But his loyalties at the end of the day are with Solskjaer, and he's decided to step on. So at the end of the day, the new manager can come in and have a fresh ideas, fresh print on the side, everything's a clean slate.
66% win rate as well, not bad.
The
highest in Man United's
I'm
history.
not surprised about that though. I'm not surprised.
I am surprised. I didn't think that would happen.
Yeah,
I didn't think that would happen. I can see, I can understand it. It doesn't. The idea doesn't shock me, but the actual fact that that's happened. Has
Chelsea and
me.
Arsenal as well. Like I said, those 2 fixtures. Like I said, I wasn't hopeful myself. So to be honest, great results from him as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, it does sound pre-planned. I can imagine in a way. Like I said, I know that Ralph Rangnick's coming in as an interim manager. Mm-hmm. You don't know whether a proposition has been put forward and said to the guys, the other staff, because I know that Ralph is bringing in some of his, staff and coaching staff from other from previous. You don't know whether they've turned around and said, right, within 6 months we're going to have a manager that's a full-term manager. Ralph's going to take the back seat and stuff. So we're giving you basically the 6 months to let you know, like as a bedding in period for a new manager's going to come in and we are going to go ahead with their full staff force. So basically, kind of laid it out to say 6 months, help Ralph bed in if you want, but then you're more than welcome to like venture into your own kind of thing. That's what I can see him going on. I can see him managing and coaching in the Championship. I can see him doing quite well and stuff. Like I said, it's whether he wants to take that move. I know that earlier on in the week, like I said, I was reading an article and stuff, reading about him saying that he has really enjoyed that step up to management. He didn't expect to and stuff. So I can imagine him going on and wanting to coach maybe at a lower level and work up as well. And
I can imagine it being something you get a taste for.
Managing
top flight games like that. With the super chat, Carrick deserves credit. He got the staff and stick upon Ollie's sacking, somewhat deserved, but he's done what he personally is capable of. He held down the fort well. He did hold the fort down well at a time when we were pretty desperate for it because that Villarreal game was a huge game. Yeah. If we'd have lost that, we'd have been in an absolute nightmare situation in that last game, and winning that game with a clean sheet, winning today. Funnily enough, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer couldn't beat Arsenal in the league in 3 years.
Yeah,
Carrick does it in 3 games.
I think we should thank Carrick and have full admiration for him both as a player. He was a fantastic player, and he's, as I say, he's been at the club as a coach and he's stepped up to the plate as a manager. So fair play to him. He's done the job and he's made that decision, and I'm sure it was totally his decision. Yeah. And I'm sure in a way he's been around the game a long time, so I'm sure he would want Ralph to have the best opportunity with the players rather than having. And again, the loyalty as well to Ollie. It sounds to me like they're really good friends. Ollie, was tearing up when he was speaking about Carrick, and I think the feeling's very much mutual. And I'm sure that has a big part in his decision as well.
Yeah, and he said it's 100% my decision, which, like I said before, I completely agree with that. Normally, it's like, oh, really? Is it mutual? But I genuinely think this is his decision. 100% my decision. Made it over the last week. Really, I was conscious that I wanted to respect the club and the new manager. I thought it was the right thing to do for the club and for Ralph. Very good of Michael Carrick. Not just for stepping down, but stepping up when he needed to. And when the club needed an interim manager, he did that. Got some very good results as well, and he can leave with his head held high, I think.
Definitely.